afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, fellow classmates. Today I want to start off by asking you all one very simple question. Whenever you guys are going to go take a shower or are going to go open up the tap of water in your kitchen, have you ever considered where that water is coming from? Have you ever thought about what the process is behind us being able to access clean and pure water? Well, that's what I want to delve into today, as I'll be going into what water privatization is specifically, which is one system that we have that allows us access to water, and how this system has impacted and been applied in different countries such as the US, Bolivia, and South Africa. Now, this topic involves everyone, as we all need water to survive, and we all need water for many other things in our society. Thus, it's important to gain a little bit of knowledge of where this water comes from. And personally, since I come from Bolivia, my country has been involved in various different conflicts regarding water and its accessibility to the population. Now, just to quickly describe what I'm going to be presenting on from this point onwards, I'll be defining what privatization is. I'll be describing its characteristics in the US, and then I'll be contrasting these characteristics with Bolivia and South Africa. Now, I'd like to start off by describing what water privatization is specifically, and according to David McDonald in 2016, a professor of American politics in the University of Florida, privatization means that the state takes the resources it has or any assets that it has and then sells them off to a company or a private individual for them to exploit and profit off of. For example, if the US has a plot of land in Alaska, they can sell this plot of land to any company that looks to make a profit off of whatever's in that land, and they'll start exploiting its resources, such as lumber in the case of trees, or oil in the case of fossil fuels. And now, it's important also to mention that according to researcher Jason Kaufman in 2017, water privatization specifically encompasses not only access to drinkable water for all of us, but also waste management and irrigation systems in the agricultural sector. So any company that seeks to make a profit off of water needs to encompass all of these other types of water systems. Now, moving on, in the US, according to Dr. Vanessa Speak in 2015, 80% of the water that we have actually comes from municipalities or small governmental boards, which means that it's publicly owned, not by a corporation. But I'll be focusing on the 20% that is owned by a private organization. And I'll be focusing specifically on affordability and quality. These two characteristics are very important in terms of the water that we all consume. To start off, privatized water, as mentioned by PhD holder Xiao Zhang in 2022, is less affordable, as there are higher upkeep costs for these systems, and a company is a company. What it seeks to do is make a profit. Thus, the rate of the water, or the rate that people pay for the water, increases significantly in comparison to publicly owned water. And now on the second side of things, which is quality, privatized water actually has a higher quality compared to regular publicly owned water here in the US. As Elizabeth Montoya from the Colorado Boulder University mentions that there are 30% less contaminants in privately owned water in comparison to publicly owned water in the US, which means that its quality is very noticeably high. Now, finally, I'll be moving on to different other countries and how this system has been applied over there. I'll also be focusing on specifically affordability and quality in these other countries, as these both have a decrease in South Africa and Bolivia. To start off with, maintaining the infrastructure required to make water profitable in developing countries such as South Africa means that its affordability will logically decrease, as the increase in the rates of the water is very, very significant. Professor Tanya Kapoor in 2016 of Yale University mentions how, in the case of South Africa specifically, there was a $5 increase in the price of water monthly. And this means that in a country whose population makes $45 on average every month, this increase was very, very significant. Now, Kapoor also mentions that there is little to no improvement in the quality of the water, especially in Bolivia, as Aguas del Tunari, a consortium of different companies that took ownership of one of Bolivia's largest cities' water, mentions that this ownership was going to be for 40 years. That was I signed with the government, and because of this very, very long contract, I was able to not even make no short-term improvements to the quality of the water, citing that they had a lot of time in order to make long-term improvements. Now, just to conclude, I have gone over the definition of what water privatization is. I've gone over its characteristics, affordability, and quality, and how these two differ between the US, Bolivia, and South Africa. Now, this contrast of water privatization is exceptional, as it's the same model or the same system, but applied in vastly different ways according to each country's background and different populations. So next time you're gonna wash your hands, or next time you're gonna go take a shower, consider where that water is coming from, as it's vital for our survival and it's vital for our current society's advancement. Thank you very much.